Before we begin, represent the legends of Harlem. Official Reelz apparel is now available. Grab yours through the link in the description below and help support future episodes of The Glow. Every legend has a beginning. Not every beginning looks like one. Sometimes history doesn't announce itself with thunder. It arrives on an ordinary morning when nobody is paying attention.
There is one place you have not been. Only there, you shall find you no better.
A bicycle lies upside down. Its chain hangs loose. 8-year-old Jamal struggles to fix it. Frustrated, "Come on!" He kicks the tire. It spins crookedly. "Oh, man!" A familiar voice, gentle, patient.
Sometimes it helps to let the bicycle tell you what's wrong.
Jamal looks up. Bruce Leroy Green, now 19, wearing his familiar black kung fu uniform with white cuffs. A canvas bag hangs over one shoulder. He smiles exactly the way he will years later in The Last Dragon. Never forcing kindness, simply living it. "Mr. Leroy!" Leroy kneels beside the bike. He studies it quietly, turns the pedals, listens, smiles.
See? She's trying to help us.
Jamal squints. "She is?"
Mm-hmm. She says her chain jumped because this wheel isn't straight anymore.
Jamal looks completely unconvinced.
Would you hold the handlebars?
Jamal immediately does. Leroy carefully loosens the rear axle, centers the wheel, slides the chain back into place, turns the pedals. Smooth, silent, perfect. "How do you know?" Leroy shrugs.
Sometimes things don't need fixing. They just need a little patience.
Jamal climbs on, rides 5 feet, turns around with the biggest grin imaginable. "It works!"
I knew it would.
"Can I pay you?" Leroy chuckles softly.
You already did.
"I did?"
That smile's worth plenty.
Jamal laughs. His mother steps outside. "Leroy, thank you again. You didn't have to stop."
Good morning, Mrs. Thomas.
She smiles. "You heading to your father's?"
Yes, ma'am.
"Tell Marcus I'll stop by later."
I will.
Jamal pedals away, his bicycle now flying down the sidewalk. Leroy watches, satisfied, not proud, just happy for him. Interior, Daddy Green's Pizza. Morning sunlight filters through the windows. Quiet, comfortable. Marcus starts preparing dough. Leroy flips chairs off tables without speaking. They've done this together hundreds of times. Marcus glances toward the front window. Outside, someone waves at Leroy, then another. A sanitation worker taps the glass, points, gives Leroy a thumbs up. Leroy waves back. Another customer passing by smiles and bows his head respectfully. Marcus notices, doesn't say anything, yet. Instead, he smiles to himself. His son has become something rare, not feared, not famous, loved. Marcus dusts his hands with flour, looks over at Leroy, a thought forming. Leroy, can I ask you something? Leroy turns. Of course, Daddy. Marcus studies him for a long beat. You ever notice how everybody out there seems to know your name? Leroy looks out the window, shrugs gently. I try to remember theirs. Marcus smiles. But there's something deeper behind the smile. A father realizing the neighborhood sees what he sees every day. His boy isn't becoming known because of how well he fights. He's becoming known because of who he is. Marcus smiles at Leroy's answer. I try to remember theirs. He studies his son for a moment before returning to his dough. You know, sometimes I wonder if you know how many people around here care about you. Everybody cares about everybody around here. That's not what I asked. Leroy looks slightly confused. Boy, I don't think you've paid for a soda in Harlem in 3 years. I paid for one last week. Marcus laughs. See, that's exactly my point. The front door opens. Mrs. Washington walks inside carrying a covered dish. Morning, Marcus. Morning. Leroy, I brought you some peach cobbler. For me? For helping my grandson after school yesterday. Oh, he smiles politely. Thank you very much. And don't you go sharing this one with your brother. I can't promise that. That's why I brought 2. Marcus laughs as she walks away. You see what I'm talking about? About peach cobbler? No, about you. Before Leroy can answer, another customer approaches. Leroy, thanks again for helping me move those boxes last week. You're welcome, sir. You didn't have someplace else to be? No, sir. Marcus quickly interjects. He usually does. The customer laughs before returning to his table. Marcus watches Leroy for a moment. Can I ask you something? Of course. How come you never say no? No? That's right. No. It's a complete sentence. I know. Then why don't you ever use it? Leroy thinks about it honestly. I don't know. Marcus laughs. You don't know? No. It just never feels right. Marcus softens immediately. What doesn't? walking away when somebody needs help. The simplicity of his answer says more than any speech could, even when it costs you something. I suppose so. And if they don't deserve it, I don't always deserve it either. Marcus stops kneading his dough. He wasn't expecting that answer. People are usually very kind to me. Marcus smiles quietly. His son genuinely doesn't understand why everyone likes him. Harlem, later. Leroy makes several deliveries through Harlem. At every stop, someone greets him. Not because he's famous, because he's Leroy. An elderly woman asks him to reach something from the top shelf at the neighborhood market. A young boy asks him to tie his shoe. Someone else asks him for directions despite living in the neighborhood longer than Leroy has been alive. He patiently helps everyone. Playground, afternoon. Several neighborhood children surround Leroy. Child number 1. Mr. Leroy, show us some kung fu. Leroy, now? Child number 2. Yeah. Child number 3. Break something. Leroy, why? The children laugh. Child number 1. Because that's what kung fu masters do. Leroy, oh. No, thank you. Child number 2. Why not? Leroy, because we'd have to fix it afterward. The children laugh again. Child number 3. Can kung fu make you famous? Leroy, I don't know. Child number 1. Everybody knows who you are. Leroy, they do. Child number 2. Of course they do. Leroy, oh. He genuinely seems surprised by this information. I suppose that's nice. A basketball suddenly flies toward the group. Without even looking, Leroy casually catches it inches from striking one of the children. No flourish, no dramatic pose. He simply hands it back. I think this belongs to somebody. Child number 3. That was kung fu! Leroy, no. The child points toward the basketball. Child number 3. Then what was that? Leroy considers the question. Paying attention. He smiles before continuing his delivery route. Interior Daddy Green's Pizza, afternoon. Marcus watches his son through the front window. Every few steps, someone stops him. A wave, a smile, a handshake. Sometimes nothing more than, "Good afternoon, Bruce." An older customer sits beside Marcus. "You've got yourself a good boy there." "I know." "No, I mean a really good boy." Marcus looks outside again. "Don't see many like that anymore." Marcus smiles proudly. "Everybody thinks they're too busy nowadays. Not him. He always seems to have time." The customer returns to his lunch. Marcus watches Leroy help an elderly gentleman carry his groceries across the street. Pride fills his face, then concern. "One of these days, son, I hope somebody's there when you're the one that needs help." Harlem, same time. Several blocks away, children laughing from apartment windows. Someone prepares dinner. Someone practices piano. Someone rocks their baby to sleep. Everything is ordinary, beautifully ordinary. And then, a faint trail of smoke rises into the afternoon sky, almost unnoticed. Then another, and another. No alarms, no screams, not yet. Only smoke, slowly rising above Harlem. Some men become great because the world notices them. Others become great because they never stop noticing the world around them. Bruce Leroy Green never wanted to become anyone's hero. And sometimes that is where legends begin. Join us next time as The Glow continues. And if you've enjoyed our journey, we'd be honored if you would like, subscribe, and share this story with others. Until next time, may your light continue to glow.